I stand before you as the most unlikely tech entrepreneur. While the tech world is filled with young CEOs, I wasn't supposed to be one. I was born in a small farming village in Egypt by the Nile. My family has been there for 7 generations. That village was our world and all we had ever known. But we had to give up everything after my younger brother Ali was born. Ali has a rare genetic disease. He doesn't have sweat glands, so he can't regulate his body temperature. If it gets too hot, he can actually die. We got lucky. The year Ali was born, our visas to the US were finally approved. When I was 8, we sold everything and scraped together just enough money to move to the US. Like so many before us, we came to this country with nothing but hope. We made our new home in Queens. After we got here, my youngest brother Omar was born. He also doesn't have sweat glands. In the summers, we give them baths to keep them cool. We got a 1-bedroom apartment for the 6 of us. Our floor was covered in mattresses. My mom and dad shared one mattress, my sister and I were on another, and my brothers had one. We had a roof over our heads. We were eating, and my brothers were alive. That's all that mattered. But surviving in New York was hard. Rent and food were too much for my dad to cover alone. The only jobs he could find were driving a taxi, pushing a hot dog cart, or working in a pizza shop. There weren't a lot of options. He started working 12 hours a day in a pizza shop. And when that wasn't enough, he got a second job. But as hard as he worked, it was never enough. So I had to get a job to help pay the rent. I also started working 12-hour shifts in a pizza shop. I was 12 years old. I could barely see over the cash register, and I had a hard time reaching into the oven to pull out the pizza. My arms are still scarred from the burns. I was enrolled in school, but I barely went. I could spend all day in class and not earn any money, or I could make $20 a day to help pay the rent. I chose to help my family. With no education and no English, I figured I was going to work in a restaurant forever. I didn't mind. It was still better than my brothers dying in Egypt. I just thought that this was life. You work hard just to get by. When I was 14, everything changed. The boiler in our apartment building was broken, and the repairman was fixing the boiler while smoking a cigarette. He started a fire. The boiler exploded, and the whole building burned down. My mom and brothers got out just in time. We lost everything we had ever worked for. But our apartment building burning down was actually the best thing that happened to my family since we came to America. After the fire, we moved into a shelter. We were so grateful to be there. For the first time ever, we didn't have to worry about rent. And we got food stamps, so we didn't have to worry about food. This may sound weird, but we were the happiest family in the shelter. My dad was able to cover the rest of the expenses, so I didn't have to work. But I couldn't really go back to school because I was so far behind. I was 14, but reading at a first grade level. I started going to a public library where a librarian showed me online educational videos. She even made a curriculum for me. I started with elementary math, and I learned to read. I liked the videos a lot. I could learn at my own speed, and no one called me stupid. I studied video after video, 12 hours a day, every day. And in 1 year, I caught up. I was ready to start going to school again. When I was 15, I took the Regents exams, and I scored in the top 5th percentile in both math and English. Thank you. By this time, my family moved to the Queensbridge projects, the biggest public housing projects in the country. I put all my energy into studying, and I got ahead. I graduated high school in 3 years, and then I went to Queens College where I got my bachelor's in applied math in 2.5 years. I was 20 and had my degree, while many of my friends were pushing hot dog carts in Times Square. I didn't know what to do next, but then I saw a flyer for Coalition for Queens around school. Learning to code sounded like a great idea, but I was still hesitant. Classes cost money, which I didn't have. And then I found out C4Q was free, and they were located just a few blocks away from my home. The class was filled with people from all over the world, places like the Caribbean, China, and Ghana. For 10 months, we went through an intense boot camp. We learned to code and how to build mobile apps. We also practiced interviewing, presenting our ideas, and making pitches. And every week, we met with entrepreneurs. That was the first time I met people who made millions with nothing more than an idea and hard work. Many of them were from Queens and came from backgrounds like mine. Seeing these entrepreneurs made me realize that there was nothing outside my reach. I could also succeed in America. More than skills, Coalition for Queens gave me a dream and the confidence to go after it. Juke and his co-founder David showed me possibilities I never knew existed. They pushed me to get a degree in computer science, so I applied to Columbia University and I got in. I was intimidated at first. Everyone had gone to the best schools their entire lives. But I kept reminding myself that I was just as good as they are. A classmate eventually became my business partner. We built a special workout tool using 3D cameras that let anyone have a personal trainer without the cost. Juke and David opened their networks to me, and I had the opportunity to pitch my idea to Y Combinator, a top incubator in San Francisco. Out of 30,000 applicants, only 20 got funded, and we were one of them. Today, I'm the CEO of a $7 million company, and we've raised $1.8 million. We're working with the San Francisco 49ers to build their new training facility. Google has already installed our systems in their gyms, and Crunch Fitness is using our technologies today. But most importantly, my company's success means I can take care of my family. My father doesn't have to work so hard anymore, and I can help my brothers. In this country, our life hasn't been easy. But this is where great leaps are possible in a single generation. This is the promise of America and this great city. You're free to follow your dreams, but without Coalition for Queens and Robin Hood, my dreams would never have been possible. David, Juke, Robin Hood, thank you for making the American dream a reality for me and my family. Thank you.